All right, thanks for tuning in to Jets FM on EOFN. As we are actually talking live, you are watching and listening on demand, but the Jets are about to pick. And before we get to the Jets pick, the Our Lads draft guide is available at ourlads.com. So make sure you get the Our Lads draft guide, ourlads.com. Even though the draft is already started, it's still a valuable tool. All right, let's welcome in Jan Levine. And Jan, we are just a minute or two away from the Jets being able to get the best case scenario where the two tackles that I believe we both wanted the Jets to pick, best Becton or Wirfs, it looks like they're getting one of them, unless there's a trade down in the next couple of minutes, which could happen. But I don't know. I mean, this is working out pretty good.
Or Joe Douglas throws a curveball and takes one of the wide receivers.
Yeah, that would be a huge curveball. But still, I mean, I'm not going to complain if he takes one of the receivers either, because it's a great receiver. So I think the Jets are in an unbelievably good position, which is why I think even if we just hear in a second that they're going to trade down a few spots, it wouldn't be a shock. But I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. So who do you think the pick's going to be?
I think it's going to be Wirfs. I think a lot of people, and I did also, thought Wirfs might end up going to the Giants at 4.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
uh,
that's how good Wirfs is.
right. That was original. One of the original. A lot of the mock drafts I saw early. Giants ended up going with Thomas, and then offensive tackles were passed until we got to the Browns, and we kind of, I think, all expected the Browns to be taking an offensive lineman, and they went with Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. So
Yeah.
now we have Wirfs or Becton. I put it this way, it's the best case scenario, worst case scenario, right? You wanted to make sure you got at least one of them, and now you have no choice but to make a decision out of the two.
That's okay. It's a best case scenario. There was a chance that there would have been one left on the board, and as we talked a lot about, where he would have been in a position where who knows, maybe that fourth guy wouldn't have been, maybe it would have been his third or fourth choice, and it could have been a reach pick for him. But here, it can't be. He has to love the fact that especially Wirfs. See, Becton was more of a long shot that he would have got drafted earlier because of everything that we've been hearing about him since the combine test news came out. But Wirfs, as you said, there are a lot of people who look. You take a look at the R Lads guide, and I don't always agree with Dan, but I was 100% behind Dan at R Lads that has Tristan Wirfs as the number one tackle.
I think you have to look. One of the things we talked about, and Douglas made a big deal of, was character, right? And I don't hold the failed drug test against Becton, but we know when the news came out shortly thereafter, Douglas made I wouldn't say he made a big public play about it, but made comments about character being important, how important he finds character. So that's definitely going to be viewed as a strike, even if it's a small one, against Becton. Maybe they go Judy, maybe they go with Ruggs, maybe they go with Lamb, but I think both of us would be kind of shocked given
No, I mean,
the
if they're
number
going to
of
do
speakers
that,
this
they should
draft if
just
they
trade
don't go
down.
with the offensive tackle.
Yeah, if they're going to go with one of those guys, you might as well trade down. So that's why I think they stay here. It has to be Wirfs. I mean, I think if they stay here, it's Wirfs or Judy, because the other guys they can get by trading down. I'm surprised. And this is a little bit surprising. We haven't had a trade yet.
That's so. I mean, again, look. I think the Cardinals lucked out by getting Simmons at 8. I don't think any of us expected Simmons to be 8.
Oh yeah, I
I
did.
was slightly surprised that Tua going 5, given all of the talk about his injury and the talk that the Dolphins might be really interested in Justin Herbert. So that helped out the Jets by basically taking another
Yes,
quarterback off the board where we thought an
yes.
offensive lineman might go there.
And look, Jacksonville taking Henderson was a shock to me because they don't have a very good offensive line, and I'm just very surprised that. And I know they got Taylor on the right side, but they don't have a left tackle. Cam Robinson is not a good left tackle. I don't know but that's why Jacksonville has problems. So good for them, better for us. And now let's see if we wind up blasting Joe Douglas here, or giving him a kiss if he was sitting right next to us. So
Well, I mean,
I
again,
think
we both have
he's
discussed a
getting a
lot of
big
times.
sloppy.
No, according to Brian Costello, the Jets are taking Becton.
Look at either way, the Jets are fine. I'm gonna look at that. Judy, Wirfs, I gotta wonder why, if Wirfs winds up, let's say who's after the Jets? Who's after the Jets pick?
Um,
Oakland, right? Las
think
Vegas.
so.
So they're not going to pick a tackle. I mean, if Wirfs winds up going 13, 14, 15, man, and we always talk about every year there's a player who slips the draft board that somebody is going to take advantage of. And it looks like maybe somebody is going to get a major bargain with Tristan Wirfs.
Looks that well. I mean, I think a lot of people thought 12, 13, 14 were going to be receivers. I mean,
Oh yeah, Raiders need a receiver. Yep.
the Niners need a receiver. The Raiders need a receiver. I think so. That's what everybody thought. But
Yeah.
you wonder, worse slipping changes people's draft boards, or people trade up now.
Yeah, Wirfs is no way, if the Niners and the Raiders stay where they're at, they're taking Wirfs. If the Jets go with Becton. So, but look, we talked about this the other day because we didn't think Wirfs would be available, that Becton would be a really good pickup for the team, and that maybe we would benefit from all the talk about the negative talk, that maybe Douglas could take advantage of that. Now, we didn't think Wirfs would be there, but we'll find out after the draft if they go with Becton exactly why they didn't go with Wirfs. So here's the
I don't know
pick.
if we'll, I don't know if we'll ever really know.
Well, there'll be enough chatter about it, as Becton is now an official pick for the Jets. There's been enough chatter. There'll always be enough chatter about it, but you're right. It's possible we'll be sitting here and going, yeah, but we can't be necessarily 100% sure.
Put this way, Ian Rappaport just wrote, Jets are sticking an 11, they take Becton. Teams viewed him as having the potential of Jonathan Ogden. There's your answer.
Yeah, well, I don't need one of those
Rappaport
guys to
knows.
tell me.
I like Rappaport. He's one of the guys I think who knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
and look, maybe hyperbole.
but I don't need to. This
both
is
like
an rlads.com show. I don't need
No.
Ian Rappaport to tell me where exactly the offensive
What I'm
tackle
saying
is.
I think you and I both, when we both thought Wirfs wasn't there, neither one of us went, "Oh my God, they're settling for Becton," is what I'm saying. We didn't have that viewpoint that they were settling for a guy.
No, we're very happy they have Becton.
Right. So the fact that Wirfs is there, they must have evaluated it too and felt that
everybody must have evaluated something wrong about Wirfs.
Or something right about Becton.
No. Because Wirfs is the fourth tackle. But this doesn't have anything to do with the Jets. This is, why did the Giants not take Wirfs? Why didn't who else? What was it? Cleveland? No.
I really thought the Dolphins were going to go offensive tackle maybe.
That's where the Jets got very fortunate. That once Tua went to the Dolphins, that opened it up for the Jets. It secured the fact that they were going to wind up with one of these four tackles. All right, so just checking out at the R-Lads guide, going to give you some highlights about Becton. 3-year starter. Starts at left tackle. Of course, the other guys, I didn't want Andrew Thomas because Thomas, even though he's an excellent run blocker, he's got some pass blocking issues. So this isn't football from 20 years ago. I'm glad the Giants went with Thomas. And again, we'll find out exactly why Wirfs slid. And Jedrick Willis, the reason I'm also happy that Becton's our guy and not Willis, and I know a lot of Jet fans wanted Willis, but Willis we haven't really seen him at left tackle. He's played primarily at right tackle at Alabama. Doesn't mean he can't play left tackle, but that's just one little bit nitpick when we're nitpicking these guys. But just going into the analysis of Becton, talking about a guy with elite length, upper body explosion, a rare physical force. Issues are partially technique based. Can be hard for a player of his height to adjust with balance and precision. Now, Dan does say he's a boom or bust prospect who turns just 21 a few days before the draft. He's got explosive hands, a physical force. He does get sloppy out of his stance. Body language, control, and conditioning are all issues. Jets have a very good line coach. And he also have a very good GM. And this is the faith that we have to have now, that Joe Douglas went with the player that has the biggest upside out of any other tackle in this draft, but also we could wind up very upset about this decision if Tristan Wirfs goes on to have a tremendous career and Becton does wind up more of a, not a bust, but just an average player.
Well, this is why we talked about, right? It's sometimes easier not having the choice, right? Because if the choice is made for you and you're good with all of the guys who are there, then, for example, taking the guy, you won't come back with the blowback because,
Yeah,
well,
that would have been
you
better
had
for
the guy
Douglas.
who
Yeah,
landed in your spot that you wanted at the position.
yeah, that would have
Now
been
with a
better for
choice,
Douglas. Yeah.
right now it's the, oh, you better make the right choice, because if you made the wrong choice, you're never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah. And that's where Joe Douglas. So the pressure was definitely on Douglas, where it wasn't. We didn't think he was going to be under pressure when the day started, but now, yeah, now the pressure's on. Now we're going to always compare Wirfs and Becton. Just sort of like how we're going to compare Quinnen Williams. But see, there's really no reason for us to compare Quinnen Williams with what's his name on Buffalo, because it's a different general manager.
Ed Oliver.
Yeah, Ed Oliver, because that general manager's
That's the guy
gone
we
already.
talked about last year. That had been rising up the board.
Yeah. So anyway, we're not gonna compare that because the GM's gone. But as long as Douglas is here, we're always gonna compare Becton with Wirfs. So,
And Ruggs ended up going 12th to the Raiders, and he is a typical Raider draft pick.
yeah, that's actually where I had him going in my mock.
Speed, and more speed. Right? It's an Al Davis type pick.
All right, so we are going to wrap this up on Sunday morning. You can subscribe to the Prime Sports Network YouTube channel. And if you do that, then that basically will let you know when these shows, any of our shows, any Jets FM show is available. Exactly when it's posted, you'll know. So subscribe to our YouTube page at Prime Sports Network, under Prime Sports Network, or just go over to ourlads.com Sunday afternoon, because we should have the Sunday morning Jets draft recap show posted by then. Because Jan and I are going to talk early on Sunday morning. We're going to wrap up every pick, and we'll see how it goes. No trade down yet. I got to believe the trade down is going to come tomorrow at some point.
I would think, well, 48, it may be hard to trade down. I mean, look, it all depends, I think, on which wide receivers there are. As we've seen, right? I guess the one thing we can tell also from the Becton pick is if there is a player there that Douglas really wants and he thinks he is the best player on the board there, he's not trading down.
Oh, and by the way, one last thing. Were you serious when you said you wished that Isaiah Simmons had slipped to the Jets?
I wouldn't have minded Simmons. I think he's a tremendous talent.
Another defensive player, dude.
Yeah, and also we need a guy who can play all over the place, and he's that guy.
Dude, another defensive player.
I know.
Come on. No way. You say that, but if they would have picked Simmons and not picked a tackle, come on. Even you would have been, well, second thought.
This way, if Simmons hadn't gone there, right, you don't know who would have gone before and if there would have been the tackles there to begin with.
All right, I don't know what you mean by that, but we'll talk about it on Sunday. All right, so Sunday we'll wrap up the whole draft for the New York Jets. Jan, appreciate you taking your time out. Enjoy the rest of the draft tonight and, of course, tomorrow night and Saturday. And looking forward to wrapping up the draft on Sunday morning with you.
Yeah, and hopefully we get a couple of trades here to make it even more interesting.
Yes, Jet trades?
I'll take trades in general.
Yeah, that's true too.
Jet trades, if a guy that's there
trade
that
down.
They really want, they move together.
We need trade down. Joe Douglas will trade down tomorrow. That's a guarantee.
We talked at this pick that they could potentially trade down.
What's that?
We said at 11.
Yeah, well, they could have, but no, not. Yeah,
those
are. That's He he got his guy, because he could have traded. See, that's what does make it interesting, because you would think that he could have traded down several spots if he wanted Becton or Wirfs, but I for some reason it's hard to trade down today. I don't know why. Nobody's trading down. The Jets easily could have traded down. But who knows? Maybe Joe Douglas loves Becton so much that there was no way he was trading down.
Well, that's my point I made, right? In the
Yeah.
next round, he may have a guy he really loves at 48.
Yeah, but I'm just
And
saying though, but we don't before we even that we get to that point, it could be the 3rd-round pick too.
could be.
They need to trade down. We need more picks.
I agree.
So let's hope they trade down. Unless, of course, like you said, if we see some really good players staring in front of our eyes, oh, please don't trade down. Please grab that guy. But that's the fun of it.
Yep.
Okay, Jan, talk to you Sunday morning.
Sounds good.